Hey guys, it's Bobby Legs, and welcome to another weekday watch chat with our in-house enthusiast, Ryan. Ryan, how are you today, man? And what do you have on wrist?
Hey Rob, I'm doing well. In light of today's topic, I'm wearing my Rolex Submariner, the two-tone bluesy.
Nice, nice. Excellent, excellent choice. It's an excellent watch. I can't wait to whenever this is all done, what's going on in the world, to get together and do an in-person look at your or review of your collection because you got an outstanding collection. And then, like you said, because of what was released today, I am wearing my Tudor Black Bay 58, the original. I guess now you can say the original Black Bay 58.
The
Um,
OGBB.
OGBB, so obviously everybody knows the big news of the week, probably the big news of the summer so far. I know it's early on, is the release of the new variant of the Black Bay 58. Now, about a week or so ago, we were hearing some rumblings, and that's when I first started hearing. And I guess, maybe there was some news before that or some rumors before that, but I only started hearing about this about a week or so ago. And then, sure enough, some pictures were online, some Photoshop pictures, people, thinking of what it was going to look like. Everybody knew it was going to be a blue, apparently, like a blue variant. Um, and it came out today. And, Ryan, before I jump in and give you my thoughts, I would love to hear what you think about the new release.
Well, interestingly, Rob, when the original came out, I was not a fan. In fact, I wasn't a fan of the Black Bay 58 until I tried on yours in around November. And I mean, as a starting point, I'll say I like it. I wanted to hate it, but I realized it's actually pretty nice. I don't know if I would have designed it that way, but it is a nice watch, and I think overall it probably sell really well. Uh, I, th- I think for other reasons, I think the size of the watch is the
Hmm.
dimensions of it and proportions are really great, and
Hmm.
I think that's what people wanted. It's a little different, and the color, it's a pretty blue. It is.
Yeah.
It's somewhere between what the I guess the Tudor Submariner blue and the Pelagos blue, which I happen to
Hmm.
love. And it's
Right.
somewhere in the middle. It's not quite as dark and not quite as light. It's actually really pretty, and it does. I've seen lots of pictures today online. I made sure to spend time to see because depending, with the light that it picks up, it takes on a slightly different hue. But overall, I do think it was well executed. It is nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's one of these watches, and I agree with you. It depends on, like, what picture you were looking at, what angle of the light. But from what I've read from the people who have it right now, the one thing that I've seen commonly said is like you have to see this watch in person. And I think that's very, very true with a lot of watches, but especially with this colored shade of blue. You mentioned, Tudor, did the people were asking for a new variant of the Black Bay 58 for the last like year or so ago. Everybody loved the size of the Black Bay 58, the original one. They were they were asking, we're begging Tudor to give us different options, different color options. And here it is. Tudor listened to the fan base and they gave it a year too late, in my opinion. I think they should have probably done it last year, but maybe they wanted to give the original some time to breathe because it started to become like a cult classic, and it is kind of already a classic. But I think their choice of this blue was an excellent first step. I love the sizing because it's the same exact size as this guy. I like the fact that it's different. It's not doesn't have the gilt hands. As a collector and as an owner of the original Black Bay 58, I'm kind of happy that it is a little bit different. That it doesn't have these cues like the original Black Bay 58 with the gilded hands and the red triangle, because I intend to buy this watch and I want a contrast. And but I love the size, man, and I could see myself being a total Black Bay 58 collector from here on out, whatever different variations they have. What do you think about that?
Well, I know we talked about it. So if you put it in comparison to my Submariner just for a second, I often said I would have no place in my collection for black dial Submariner,
Hmm.
the only reason I would get it is because it looks killer on a NATO, and I'm a sucker for NATOs.
Right.
But it's a lot of money to spend for another dive watch that I could throw on a NATO. And I was actually thinking about that today for you. Um, and it is different enough, and it is a pretty enough blue. I actually am a huge fan of the Tudor Submariner. I could see
Hmm.
myself buying that watch. It's a little bit smaller, but I really do love the blue, and it's just a really pretty watch. So thinking about that, I could understand why you would want the blue, the new blue bay, we'll call it,
Right.
and where it could fit in the collection because it is sufficiently different. But I also had to. I originally was going to come out and say I hated the watch because that
Hmm.
was my first thought. I was like just underwhelmed. But then I really sat and thought about it. I saw all the pictures, and I realized that it probably was smart to keep the gold, the gilded hands off of this to give it a unique twist. And I do disagree with you on one point, though, Rob. I think it was smart to not offer both at the first last year when the Black Bay 58 was initially offered. I think it was smart because that watch was polarizing. Some people hated it, and a lot of people loved it. It became a classic. If you put two out there at one time, it might have taken away from that. It gave it somewhat of a iconic status. And
Well,
now you're
just to clear it up, Ryan, and that the Black Bay, the original Black Bay came out 2 years ago in 2018.
right. No, that's what I went back.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't last year, but I apologize. But
Yeah.
I think it was smart because it was something so new, and it was a
Hmm.
re-release of an old watch, but it was a great reproduction of something. And I think if they put the blue out at the same time, it might have been confusing. It just would have taken away from it. And I think what they found is that people really had a love for it. They might not have known
Yeah.
how great it would have taken off. And like I said, when it came out, I hated it. I really
Yeah.
did. And my opinion completely changed when I tried it on. I fell in love with it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I could see myself buying the Black Bay 58, but I really can't envision myself buying, just a regular, no date or date sub at this point. It just doesn't really have a place for me in my collection. But the Black Bay 58 is sufficiently different for me,
Hmm.
and I could definitely understand why someone would want to have both. And considering the price point, it's not that terrible. Whereas
Right.
a Submariner, it's like you buy new, it's like 10
Yeah.
grand. If you're
Right.
lucky, you can get it.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a lot for something just to have a variant in color.
Well, so
Um,
going forward, I feel like this gives us a little bit of hope here because what also people are asking for is a Tudor Submariner. And now that Tudor has answered the fans by giving them what they want, another variant of the Black Bay 58, could Tudor also give us that what we want, which is another Submariner? So there's that, and I think there's a lot of hope and promise for that. Now, what does Tudor do now with the Black Bay 58? So we have the blue. Do they wait a couple of years and do they do like a burgundy dial? You know what I mean? Like, or I mean a burgundy bezel. Or do they follow like whatever cues from the Heritage line? So for me, it's exciting to see what, or do they go GMT? You know, there's a
I am
lot they can
curious. I
do.
am I am curious because if you look at Rolex, they hardly release anything. And I was one of the posts I read not too long before we got on this call, where someone making fun of all the haters of this new,
Hmm.
Black Bay 58 release, saying, "Oh, Rolex changes the color." Everyone goes nuts. Tudor does it, and people are all hating on it. And I kind of snickered because in reality, even though I'm a Rolex owner, I'm kind of critical of a lot of the practices Rolex has incorporated. But yeah, they make a huge deal about issuing a new dial after like they hardly produce anything new, and then the only thing new they're going to change is a color of dial. Or
Right.
hey, here's the GMT, but now we'll do it in stainless steel. All those nuts. And on the one hand, they have such control and their market power, but I don't think Tudor has that. So even if and it would probably be a mistake to try and make it elite. It's the sister brand, and they're never
Right.
going to be Rolex. So, I, I mean, it might make sense, and they still do sell out, and they become a list for it. I guess it's not that easy to get, a lot easier
Yeah.
than a sub. So, but I don't know if they'd want to mess around with the Submariner name because it has such iconic status at this point where they're untouchable, unobtainium.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. I'd be surprised if they did that. It would be interesting because I'm a huge fan of that watch. I
yeah.
could definitely see myself buying that watch. It would probably be a struggle for me as to whether I would get, if I wanted to get another blue, uh, would I get a Black Bay 58 or would I try and go for that vintage Tudor? And it would be a tough call.
So I think we both agree, guys, and everybody who's watching, we don't. I don't think Tudor has jumped the shark per se here. I think they gave fans what they wanted. The people who hate are just gonna hate anyway, because they got nothing better to do. I think Ryan and I can both agree here that this is a really, really great release, and we are looking forward to seeing what Tudor does in the future. Ryan, any final thoughts before we sign off tonight?
Only that I'm looking forward to trying yours on in the near future.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. Hopefully, I don't have to wait as long as the original 58 when I had to wait. But hopefully, I'll be getting that one soon. Guys, let us know what you think about the new release of the Black Bay 58. Did Tudor jump the shark with this one or not? We don't think so, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And until the next video, until the next watch chat, we'll see you guys next time. Good night.
Take care. Good night.
All right.